step away from the desk for just a couple of moments as the sale rolls on here on night number 1. Hip number 31 has now stepped into the ring. We've got interviews with representatives from Spring Station, Alliance Bloodstock. But up first, he's the man behind Preferred Equine as well. Really pulls this all together with the Lexington Selected Yearling Sale. David Reed with Heather.
All right, Dave, everybody out here doing their homework. You know, what do we have, like over 900 yearlings in this sale?
Yeah, just a shade over 900, 920, 930 or something like that. We got glorious weather, and you know, it's great to be back in Lexington, as it always is, but we have 900 yearlings. It's going to be a great week, and it's going to be what it's going to be. I think it's going to be good, though.
How is the book looking? Because I see like there's some like triple eligibles, and we've got some first year sires.
First year sires, and you have some good freshman sires that were well represented as well. And yeah, so obviously everyone's well aware of the Kentucky program. So you have a lot of dual eligible. I think 70% of the sale is dual eligible, meaning Kentucky and somewhere else. And then there's going to be, you know, with preferred, we have the luxury of having some triple eligibles. So if they're eligible to the Kentucky program, they could be Pennsylvania and they could be Massachusetts. So Massachusetts is one of the keys, which is very good for the Northeast trainers. And truthfully, the national trainers have recognized that. We have a couple of Virginia breds this year, so that makes them triple eligible as well. They just had big finals there this weekend for $60,000 or $70,000. So it just gives a buyer just another little added incentive if they're interested in a horse. I might push them over the edge for that extra eligibility. Triple eligibles have worked well. Massachusetts Irish Stakes start on Monday, and they go right through. You know, there's 2 or 3 legs and then a final. So, you know, going back to, you know, what I've always preached a little bit, you know, the purses drive the sales prices, and if you have a good offering, people are doing the homework, they're paying attention to that more than they were 5 years ago. And all good, and we're happy to represent, you know, whoever we represent, but the triple eligibles are always nice, dual eligibles are nice as well.
Yes. So we talk to you at the end of each session to do recaps, but I couldn't wait for any other time but now to congratulate you on being voted into Harness Racing's Hall of Fame. How cool.
Yeah, no, this is a great honor. You know what I'm saying? It's actually, you know, it's very humbling, whatever, but you know, I've dealt with Hall of Famers all my life, which is great, and I always believe surround yourself with good people. And I'd like to say that you know, all the Hall of Famers that I dealt with in the past made you a Hall of Famer, right? So happy to represent the industry. I think we try to do a quality job year in and year out, and yeah, it's good. And plus, I get to join my late partner.
Oh yes.
Jeff Stein. You know what I'm saying? And some of my closest friends, the Antonacci's and Chucky, and you know, all these trainers that you've been representing for all these years, and it's a great honor, and I'm proud, and yeah, it's good.
Not only that, I see a baby here, another generation. What's happening? And I do want to say that's one of the great things about being in horse racing and being at a sale. It's a big family deal. But tell me about this the grandson.
I look pretty good for 40 and a grandfather, don't I? Yeah. That was my first grandson, our first grandchild, my wife and myself, and that's Brianna. And she got married a few years ago, and she lives in Alabama. So she drove from Alabama to Nashville, and she drove in this morning. She surprised me, so it's a nice little surprise. And it's his first sale. He's only 3 months old, so he's starting young. So now it's very nice. That's another great thing that's happened to our life, and it's everyone knows it. His grandchildren are great, and we're looking forward to the future with that for sure.
All right. Yeah. Wow. Lots of exciting things happening in your life, and have a wonderful sale.
Yeah. No. Listen. You know, have everyone get out here. We've got great weather. Get out here. Do your homework. It's a deep catalog, to you say. Sire power is strong. The mares are young. I think there's going to be, as I always say, do your homework. There'll be pockets in the sale. There's horses for every jurisdiction. Just get out here, work the grounds, watch the sessions, come back here. Monday's only 120. Tuesday there's going to be 280 or 270. Just keep working during the week, and the results for the sale speak for themselves. The quality here, I've heard good things from all the consigners and the people who come back and say, there's a lot of horses on the whole grounds, whatever. Shop, do your work, and get ready to bid on Monday night and Tuesday, and we'll go from there, and you'll be tired of me by the end of the week, so you're in good shape. So.
Thank you, Dave, so much.
All right, thank you guys. Appreciate it.
Oh, super good. Yeah.
We're at Spring Station now, and Sasha joins us in front of this fun little cooler bike, though. We'll get a shot of that.
It's Eric's idea. So it's really fun. So it's a bike and it says Spring Station Bloodstock on the side, and then it just holds our cooler. It's just a fun little thing to add to the sale, just a bit of decoration that has usefulness, and it just shows off standardbred racing. So what's better than that?
Absolutely nothing. It's fantastic. And so kind of, you guys have a lot more going on this year than in past years. So kind of tell us how you became so big.
Okay, so we were originally back in the back barn area, and we were asked to move up here, which was a huge honor, I think, in all things, because it's like you're moving from JV to varsity. Our consignment has grown by 50%, so that's a huge undertaking. We've done a bit of things differently this year just because we have so many horses, so we've added for aesthetics, we've added more decoration and things like that. But we're really proud of our yearlings this year. We feel like our consignment is good. We've grown in all the right ways. We're just kind of trying to master what we're doing, and it's a learning process all in the way. So I'm really proud of how our yearlings look. I think they look great. Their coats look great. Weight looks great. Attitudes, everything. So I'm really proud of what we've done so far. And it's not like we have a great team. We have a team that is on 24/7. I mean, some of the guys, we have to tell them to take a day off because they don't want to take a day off. So it's not that they don't want to take a day off. It's just we have enough going on that we have to tell them to take a day off, basically. But no, we've grown exponentially.
And it's so exciting to see that and everyone grow together. And it's really a family. It's not just, a sire and dam's baby. It's your little babies, and everyone who works there, their babies. So you don't want to take the time away from them.
No. And our work crew, we're very much a family all together. So it's our horses and our people. We have people that have been here with us from the start. We're really happy with our team here. Eric puts everything into this sale. He puts everything into his horses. So everything his racehorses make goes right back into the breeding farm. So it's a very full circle event. And then everything that we do is just all for the good of the sport.
And that's amazing because it's, putting it back into and getting it out of, and it's, like you said, that full circle moment. Yeah. So for you guys, specifically you, we know it's a ton of people and hands-on with everybody, but for you, kind of what is your day-to-day and yearly thing? Obviously right now it's yearlings and sales, yes. But 6-8 months ago, starting kind of in the winter and in foaling season, walk us through just the process of what you do.
For me personally, so honestly, our thing is we don't really all have titles. Everyone just works. We just work to get the job done. So I'll work in the office. I manage our layups and rehabs. And then if there's anywhere there's an emergency, Josh and I handle all emergencies. So if there's an emergency on the farm, we're the first ones out there. Jack, Eric's son, is a big part of it. He lives on the farm, so he's very hands-on. Again, it's just like a family. Our day just encompasses everything on the farm, everything from office work to our horses that are maybe sick, have a boo-boo, what have you. I know that sounds silly, but it is what it is. Just everything, anything that needs someone to step in and do, we all do.
And now, do you have kind of a favorite on the farm?
Oh my gosh, I have too many. I have a running list that we can't get rid of, and Josh has it and Eric has it, so we'll go from there. But as far as the sale goes, I have a few mares that are my favorite. I'm bad. I was talking to Heather Vitale earlier, and she said, how in the world did you pivot from racing to doing this with how attached you get to everything? What Josh has told me has helped me a lot because I wasn't sure how I was going to be able to handle raising all of these yearlings and then selling them. And every night after the sale, I'm probably the last one to leave here. I go through, I say goodbye to all of them, and I leave here in tears. And it is what it is. I know everyone says you'll get tougher as you go, and I just don't think that's going to happen. And I don't want to change that. But Josh always tells me that it's great that we are doing what we are doing because we care so much. And I know everyone cares, but we genuinely care about each mare, about each foal, about each yearling. So maybe getting attached isn't so bad. You know what I mean? Because we'll go that extra mile.
Absolutely. And you mentioned your racing background. Tell us about that and kind of how you grew up with horses, got into horses.
Oh, I did not grow up with horses at all. My whole family, they're all commercial fishermen. I took my first riding lesson when I was 9. Always loved horses. Was obsessed with Briars and all that growing up. So at 9, I took my first riding lesson. And my mom, it's a running joke that my mom dropped me off at the barn and never picked me back up. So when I was 9, I first started taking riding lessons. Shortly after that, started showing. Grew up with show horses. And then my trainer actually married a gentleman that had standardbreds. So that's how we got into it. So then my life was 50-50 between showing and standardbreds. From there, I met Josh Josh, fell in love, obviously, and why not? And then we kind of ran our stable together. Josh obviously has done all of the heavy lifting. He deserves all the credit in the world. And just for taking on some of my ideas coming from a riding background was huge. And then when Eric became one of our owners, he had asked us if we would pivot from racing and doing all of that to managing his farm down in Kentucky. So we came down to Kentucky, looked at farms with him. We kind of settled on one. Naturally, it's Eric's decision in the end, and he picked a beautiful farm. So we're more than happy. We live on the farm. I've got Marcus, who is he's my trotter that I had racing. I raced him under saddle and in sulky, and now I have him on the farm. We fox hunt down here. We do all kinds of stuff. So it's just really evolved into something big, but I think Josh and I bring a unique perspective because we have done everything. You know what I mean? We've done all of it. And again, this is a huge learning curve. Like, we're still learning everything. And Josh is literally the brains behind all of it. He is so intelligent. He's so smart. He figures everything out. I just love them in the meantime.
Well, it's a great team and a great atmosphere here. You can tell everyone really works as the horses are getting ready to go to the back ring here.
And we want it to be a place that's comfortable for people to come, hang out, watch the horses being shown. You know what I mean? What we need in this industry is to make things more of an event and things that you want to go to. So we don't have the clout that other breeding farms do. So we try to make this something that people look forward to, whether it's the bourbon margaritas or the hip number cookies, all of that stuff. We want to make it so that you remember us and you come back again. We want to make it a whole experience from hospitality to customer service, if you will. We have people that come through here and say, you have a mare that I took care of. You have a mare that I raced. Can I come see her? Absolutely. We'll leave a gator at the gate if we're over here and you can go see your mare. So it's just in order for our industry to survive, we just need to be all in. And I feel as though at Spring Station, we are 100% all in all facets.
And how special is it for, past clients to come back or those who have said, I have a connection to one of your horses and want to be a part of, your life here?
I think it's amazing. I absolutely love it. The beautiful girl that took care of Bond, Sina, she came and saw Bond. She walked out to her field and Bond literally ran up to her and they hugged. She hugged her and Bond hugged her back. And it was beautiful. And that's what you want. It's all about your connections with horses and with people. And we just want to provide a little cushion for that for everyone to have the same experience.
Well, thank you so much for joining us here and taking time from Spring Station to join us on Lexington Live.
You're so welcome. Sorry if I was scatterbrained. Just all the
all.
stuff going on, but thank you so much. Thank you.
All right, Sean, the big question, Alliance Bloodstock. How did this come to be?
Yeah, I didn't realize we threw everybody for a loop. Everybody's super confused about it, but it is a simple story. Diamond Creek, last several years, has gotten to where they're selling as many horses for other people as their own. And at the same time, Bob was ready to kind of sunset and close the chapter on Northwood consign at public sales. And so very friendly with Bob always, and he brings a ton to the table. So it was just a natural, this makes too much sense not to try. And so far, I feel really good about it.
Yeah, let's talk about Bob. He really does bring a lot to the table. So how are you guys benefiting from that?
I think we learn by osmosis, just him being around and the experience level. And it's a good history lesson sometimes because a lot of us, our knowledge doesn't go back very far. And he can fill us in on who and what was going on prior to, the latest generation. And so it's really been invaluable. Appreciate it.
Okay, so where does Diamond Creek stand now? What's Diamond Creek doing?
Yeah, Diamond Creek's still doing all the same things, just not putting its name out there as a consignor at the public sales because we have this new brand Alliance. And so Diamond Creek still does everything else, stallions, breeding, racing, the whole nine. And so really business as usual. It's just a new name. It's the same people you've always seen, plus Bob. And Ashley Bako came over from Northwood as well. She's an excellent show woman, and we're enjoying having her. And what it did for the public is it took two mid-level consigners, put them together to make them a large consignor. So we'll be probably, I know we're 80 head in Harrisburg for yearlings, and then we expect 150 mixed sale horses up there. So be a strong number two size-wise to preferred is how we see it.
So now then let's talk about Lexington and how many you have in the sale.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I believe there's 53 total, and everything from the major states to the more regional areas. We kind of have something for everybody. Equally strong pacers to trotters, and we really are super diverse. And so I think every shopper will have to stop here at some point this week.
Let's talk about one or two that you love and the buyers are looking at.
Yeah, everybody wants to know which horse to buy, but for me, on the first day, we've got this unbelievable, smart, willing, classy colt by Sweet Lou. He's hip number 91. He's the first foal out of Lockbridge. It's the Bedroom Confessions family. Been a super big fan of his. I've got an unbelievably fast Muscle Hill colt with a ton of leg and hip 180 that came from Diamond Creek. And the list goes on and on. I could go on forever, but just to tell you quickly, a couple colts that I really like would be those two. And then on the pacing side, I'd have to go with, for me, there's this incredible athlete that's super agile that people should look out for in hip 342. Her video would be definitely one to key in on. And then, the one that's been out of the barn the most might have the best maternal line of any filly in the sale on the pacing side, and that's the one out of Beach Gal. So you've got Maximus Mickey with his Canadian Pacing Derby and Hoosier Derby coming in, but that's also the sister to Ammo and Always a Mickey and so many others. And so Beach Gal's over here. It's a bulldog filly that's dark black, and everybody's really enjoying.
Right. Well, best of luck at the sale. And really, this is cool. Has thrown people for a loop, like you said, but exciting stuff when something new is happening in our sport.
It's important. Yeah, at least it's an icebreaker conversation starter, so I'm having fun with it.
Well, I'll see you soon. Thank you so much.
Thanks, Heather. Have a good day.
We're here now at Cane Run Farms, and Elizabeth joins us. This is a family-run business. So before we kind of get into the horses, we have a special horse to talk about for tonight. But how's the family involvement?
We're third generation, my brother and I, family farm, and we've been around since 1982. My parents purchased the farm, and our family used to own Castleton, so we've long time in the industry, so it's just fun to keep it going, and we really enjoy the horses.
That's amazing. And how is it, growing up in this industry? I grew up in standardbred racing, so with the horses, but a little bit different. So on the breeding side.
Right, yeah, I know. I grew up and I would always be waiting. Oh, are they going to call us? We're going to have a foal. And we were just so excited. And I'd have friends spend the night, and we'd kind of be hoping, are they going to call us? But, it seemed like never really happened at the time. But, I don't know. I took over the farm. It's been 25 years now. And, it's crazy how it's been. But I just grew up, and I always loved horses. I used to show, and here I am. I can't believe I'm still doing it. So
it's not just the breeding of the horses, but it's bred into people as well.
Yeah, it's totally, it's a lifestyle. Definitely quite the commitment, I'm sure, as you know. And if you're not a horse person, you don't always understand how farm life works. But you really have to have a passion for it.
Let's get into tonight. We've got one on the books for Monday night. Tell us about him and kind of how is he, your personality, all of those things.
Yeah, I'd be happy to. He's hip 55. He's a chimpanzee out of Dene, and he's a cool horse. He might be one of her last foals. She's 21 now, and she's just been above and beyond what a broodmare could ever. We'd hope to be. She's Hall of Fame, and she's produced several champions. So he's pretty cool. He's just chill. He's built like the chimpanzees out there that are racing well. He's very strong, and he's a May foal, so he's got some growing to do. But I think he's the only chimpanzee colt tonight. I think there's 4 total in opening night. So hopefully we'll just see. He's had some interest, and we'll just see what happens.
Now, it can be taxing on taking these yearlings in and out. How do you guys kind of manage them and keep them, sane?
I know, yeah, that is true, because ours at the farm, they turn out every night in a paddock. So when they come here, it's like, why are we stuck inside the whole time? And we shipped in Saturday mid-afternoon, so they had some adjustment to do Sunday, and because I know some other consignments were already showing Saturday. But then now today they're kind of settled in, and hopefully they don't get too tired by the end of the week. But we have all of them here, and all of them have been shown so far, so at least there's interest throughout the week for the whole consignment. So that's good.
It's very exciting to hear that, and for you guys as well. It, like you said, it's a family operation. Of course, everyone pitches in. But how are we, Mom and Dad, do they still kind of mom overseas and sees what's going on here?
Yeah. My mom is the one involved, so she does everything. She's the head honcho, she's the boss. She's been around horses her whole life, and she kind of enjoys that we want to keep it going. And my brother and we try to split the roles up, so sometimes family business can be a little interesting with the personalities, but he does all the operations, and he set up our consignment, and I was showing yearlings, trying to get them ready for the sale, finishing touches and everything at the farm. So it's quite an undertaking if you're not involved in consigning. There's a lot that goes into it,
Absolutely. And talking about kind of getting them prepped for the sale, obviously that starts with handling them as soon as you can, and getting them used to people and walking, and halters, lead shanks, all of those things that you kind of take for granted when they come in the barn. But what is your kind of favorite part of foals and yearlings? Is there something that kind of excites you each year?
Yeah, my brother and I both talked about it. We love that when we're up foaling a mare and everything goes right. You never know. But just helping the foal take its first steps and latch onto the mare, that's just a special moment. It's usually in the middle of the night, so it's quiet, and it's an exhausting time of the year, but it's very special. And then to watch them grow up, and we handle them, we're pretty hands-on, like just from day one. We halter break them and lead them, and they come out here every morning. They are walked while they're cleaning the stalls, so we try to take care of them. They stay out a lot, so they get a lot of exercise and activity, and they have big fields they grow up in. And yeah, our guys have done a great job. It's a lot of hard work, but they've really worked on them, done well.
And following the racing side, once they're sold and go to their, new owners and trainers and barns, how is that communication back and forth with the new owners, and staying in touch, and of course watching these that you had them since day one grow up and race? How is that feeling, when one of yours that you bred crosses the wire first?
Yeah, no, it's fun to watch them go through the sale ring. Hopefully they do well. You never know. Got to have two bidders. And it's special. Like sometimes I'll have the trainers, they'll contact me throughout the winter and be like, hey, this guy's doing well. And so it's fun to hear that feedback from them. And, I try to check in with them. Hey, how's this one doing? Or I watched him race. He's coming along. He's looking good. So it's exciting to have a win. And especially at the Red Mile, it's our home track. And that's a special thing. So it's not easy to do.
No, it's definitely not. It's a tough industry. Breeding wise and racing wise, through everything. And how do you kind of keep sane through it all? Just yourself?
Oh my gosh, yeah. Sometimes I don't know. It's a good question, because a lot of times it's just 24/7, like every day of the year. It seems like it depends what happens. We have a lot of horses because the Kentucky program, so we're full, and I'm constantly turning people away. I wish I could help you, but we can't take on any more for our land and whatnot. And we have a lot of good clients, and it's just, we have to make time for ourselves, but a lot of times it's hard to do. It's definitely a bit of a balance and trying to figure all that out. So.
And before we wrap up here, the family's back here in the lawn chairs, watching the sale as they go, and waiting for your horses to turn to come up and get prepped. Now, where are we watching as they go through the ring?
Usually we stand, so we're kind of in between where the back walking ring is and where they walk inside, like the corner, like kind of near where the van drivers are. We're kind of outside, just kind of watching to see what happens. When we sold Damien, we went inside because he was a special one, and we thought, well, there's a lot of buzz, and we've had a lot of shows, and we think this one might be special, and it really was. Yeah.
Is there one off the top of your head that's like the one that stands out that's the most special to you? It doesn't have to be a sale topper or a farm topper, but just one that kind of...
Or just in the past?
In general, yeah.
Oh gosh. There's been so many over the years. It's been fun. I don't know. I enjoyed Propulsion. That's been a while, but I got to go to Europe and watch him race so many times, and meet a lot of people that I never would have met if we didn't have this horse that went on to do all this, and just make connections and get to travel. And so it's just something you wouldn't have done if I had chosen to do something else in life. So it's really special.
For sure, Ed. Congratulations on everything in the past and the decades of family, and good luck this week. And we look forward to seeing how it all works out.
Thank you. We do too. Yeah, we hope for a good sale and for everybody. Hopefully it's a great week.
Perfect. Thank you.
Harness Racing Update covers the sport from all the angles, with news, opinion, features, photography, and the most comprehensive racing, breeding, and sales stories in the game from around the globe. It's all delivered by a deep, diverse, and talented team of writers and photographers. Plus, HRU's popular Twos and Training series on YouTube gives you the first look at the stars of tomorrow. And the best news? It's all free. Subscribe to HRU today for free at harnessracingupdate.com.
Preferred Equine Online has proven time and time again to be the industry's online provider, selling the highest priced horses in all categories online, including racehorses, broodmares, yearlings, weanlings, and stallion shares. Full service, trusted and transparent. Contact Preferred for your online sales needs at www.preferredequineonline.com.
All right, everyone, we're continuing on night one of the Lexington Selected Yearling Sale. Mark McKelvey, Michael Carter with you. Yep. Thanks so much to Jamie and all of her guests that she was able to catch up with there earlier this evening. Great to get some of that insight and just really hear how everyone's feeling heading in to this year's sale. Over the course of the last, what were we there, about 25, 30 minutes we were catching up with various participants. We've had several notable horses that sold, so we wanted to recap some of them as we bring you back up to speed. Hip number 44 currently in the ring. We'll start with hip number 32, Mike, and this was a Poppy Rob Hanover colt out of Caviar Alley. Of course, that standout pacing mare. She made close to $2 million, had a mark of 48 flat. This was her third foal. It ended up bringing $75,000. Yep. We weren't exactly sure what to expect, and you mentioned to me first time that she's had one sell as a yearling.
Yeah, the others have been homebreds, right, with the Caviar Act 2. The Caviar farms like to hang on to some of these Caviar Alleys. So this was the first yearling to sell by Caviar Alley. Did sell for $75,000, which was interesting because the second dam has produced some really nice horses, one including All Speed Hanover, who made $819,000 in career earnings.
Hip number 34 was Emmy, a Bay Filly by Chapter 7, and this here is a full sister to Fourth Dimension, former Dam Patch Award winner as a 2-year-old. That first dam, that Muscle Hill mare's had 6 winners, 4 in 55 or better. I mean, this one speaks for itself, and brings $275,000 to continue the strong trend of trotting fillies bringing big bucks.
Yeah, the average price here was $149,000, 3 in Lexington, 2 in Ohio, which is interesting that this horse the dam had 2 sell in the state of Ohio. Did have a $200,000 Lexington Selected yearling purchase in 2016. That was Fourth Dimension, and Blue Cartier sold for $200,000 in 2023. So no surprise there on $275,000.
And being a Chapter 7, New York eligible, there'll be a lot of racing on the smaller tracks, half-mile tracks. It's proven there in the family. Fourth Dimension, no problem with it. Valentina Blue as well. Then you get that Kentucky eligible in them, though, and you wonder maybe how that translates to the big tracks should they opt to come here to the Bluegrass. Hip number 36 is one that's going to end up bringing $48,000. And, I mean, you look at the page, it's a world champion first dam in Ariana G, but at this point now, we've already seen 4 previous foals. Mind you, they're all winners, but she hasn't really hit that home run yet in terms of a Grand Circuit star, and maybe that's just where we're at now because this yearling by Wallner brings $48,000.
Yeah, the average before this evening was $325,000. Had 2 sell for over $300,000. That was Skydiver and American Power. And like you said, hasn't really produced a whole lot of Grand Circuit power. And when you're spending a lot of money on these yearlings, you're expecting a little bit of Grand Circuit, maybe in return, some maybe sire stakes in return. Bringing just under $66,000 just ain't cutting.
Well, so we move on now to hip number 38, and we talk about a mare that's, again, had several foals, 7 of them prior to the one that came into the ring, 5 of them winners, most notably that Carl. So here was the half-brother, or half-sister, I should say, to Carl. Hip number 38, $320,000. This one, by all accounts, and I actually went into the sales pavilion to watch this one sell in person. What a looker. Not a surprise when you're talking about the family here. And a Father Patrick that brings $320,000. For Father Patrick, I mean, that's a pretty good accomplishment, I think, here on night one.
Yeah, and the Damn Avalicious has yet to sell one. This is the first horse that has been sold. I don't have any notes here, so that must mean that this horse had not sold any yearlings prior to this. But a half to world champion Carl, $320,000. Really expected, a big number on hip number 38. And we got it.
Yep, $320,000 for that filly. Carl, of course, now set to stand stud, and it was a little bit of a mystery at times exactly what was going on with Carl, but kudos to the connections as they were really just taking their time with this guy and keeping everybody up to date as this summer rolled along, and now he is set as he will be standing, I believe, Southwind Farms is where we're going to find Carl. So we'll move on now to hip number 41, and actually, I skipped one ahead. I want to go back to 39. Getting ahead of myself here. There's lots to talk about. Vernacular was hip number 39. New Jersey, Kentucky eligible colt by Wallner out of Sarcy by Donato Hanover. Here is a half brother to Tactical Approach and to Double Deceiver, who we knew here locally in the United States, but Double Deceiver has certainly taken his game to another level since moving over to Europe. First of all, though, we talk about Tactical Approach. You're talking about a Dan Patch Award winner, and then Double Deceiver, a standout in Europe. So it is no surprise here that this one was going to bring 6 figures, but $150,000. I feel bad saying that maybe it could have been more, but I'm sure the connections had high hopes.
Yeah, you would think so. I mean, you've got a Hambletonian winner. Granted, it was a surprise Hambletonian winner in Tactical Approach. You've got Double Deceiver, who raced overseas and last raced in the $1 million Yonkers International Trot. The second dam has produced some really nice horses as well. This was a half brother to Tactical Approach. The average price, though, was $79,400. Okay. So the connections have to be, got to double their profits back for Sarcy. So we'll see what Vernacular has to prove in the states of New Jersey and Kentucky.
Hip number 46 is in the ring right now. $235,000 is where we're at. I don't want to go to that one just yet, though. Hip number 41 was a Wallner Colt, New Jersey, Kentucky eligible. This was the second full from a Cantab Hall first dam, and this one brought $300,000.
Interesting here. One yearling sold in 2022. That was in Lexington for $110,000. Currently 0 for 2. So I'm a little surprised at the price here of $300,000. Now, we talked a little bit earlier about Sire Wallner and how he's produced some really nice horses. So we'll have to wait and see what this one can bring along. But the second dam did produce Security Protected, who made $673,000. You got 50 Set Piece, who made over $500,000 internationally. So maybe there's something that maybe something I'm missing off the page here.
Hip number 42 is one of the Bulldog Hanover selling here tonight. $200,000 ends up being the price. This here is going to be a half-sister to Maximus Mickey, who recently won the Canadian Pacing Derby. That's a great update. If you're a consigner, you're a breeder sending one into the ring, you love when the pedigree reader up there has an update like that to read. And Bulldog Hanover, this is, as we were talking about, one of those mares that he got the second time around as the quality continues to rise.
Yeah, the average price here was $122,000. You have the likes of Always a Mickey, who sold for $40,000 and then made $746,000. I'd like to get that ROI. Yeah, that's all I'm saying. That's a heck of a turnaround.
You'll take that for sure. And the connections, the cancillaries are just doing terrific there with Maximus Mickey. He was a good winner there in the Canadian Pacing Derby. A bit of a surprise winner, but definitely deserving in that case. Hip number 43, I just want to mention, that was a half-sister to the great Be a Magician. That one went through the ring and ended up bringing $57,000.
That's the Ohio bred that we were talking about.
That was the lone one tonight, right?
That was the lone Ohio bred on the trot tonight, the Ready for Money. In fact, I was talking with a few people earlier. We were talking about how surprised we were to see a Ready for Money on night number 1. So, not the lowest selling horse of the night, kind of got a mid-range price there. I was really kind of interested to see what this trotter would bring. And you said the trotting filling ranks are going to be something special tonight. This was an embryo transplant as well, so we'll see what Always Be Ready will bring to the table.
Hip number 44, Ohio, Kentucky eligible filly out of Warwee, Butte. We talked about that family a little bit earlier tonight, and it's a great update here when you talk about it. When you look at the page, if you're not necessarily tracking racing this season all that closely, you just see that the first foal for Warwee, Butte's name is Brute. At the time of the catalog, he had a qualifying mark of 156, a beaten best of 53. He's a tall, dark stranger. It just says record at 2. He's added to that big time since the catalog, and that is a big reason why what ends up being his half-sister brings $500,000, $500,000.
Yeah, was second in 149 in the Bluegrass, and then won the Kentucky Sire Stakes Championship. Has made a lot of money since the program came out, and like you said, you read pedigrees. You love to be able to bring these updates for the consigners.
You definitely do, and if you don't mention it, they will probably hit you over the head. You've got to mention those ones. Warwee Butte again, just some high speed. It's been passed on to Brute, as we have seen, and that's a pretty good group of two-year-old pacing colts this season, I have to say. I get to watch Bojangles up close and personal back home. Obviously, Frantic Hanover showed up, and then some of those that have been racing down here in Kentucky. It'll be good to see them all match up, hopefully, at the Breeders' Crown. So that kind of gets you caught up to speed as you've been tracking along as we've been talking. Hip number 46 was one that, as we were catching on up, we mentioned was also commanding a pretty good ticket. $265,000 ended up being the price there on Hip 46. A tactical landing, what is a half-sister to Bond.
Yeah, Bond sold for $80,000 here in Lexington in 2021 and made just shy of $1.5 million. The average sale price there, $179,000. The Southwind Farms is having a great night at the sales ring.
They really are. I mean, that's a family, too. The second dam is Bella Dolce. Third dam is Pizza Dolce. It just feels like generation to generation. That is going to be a very influential line, I have to think, as we move along over the next generation of racing, so to speak, because it does backtrack. And it's basically, essentially, a third dam and Pizza Dolce from the early 2000s, and it's covering multiple generations, so to speak, and having some big-time performers throughout that family. So that's where we're at. Hip number 49 is the one that is in the ring now. Getting my page to that one. There's always something here as soon as I flip it over. And first thing I see is here's one I have written down as a top pick, because this is the first foal from what we were talking about, some European flavor. This is the first foal out of a Bold Eagle mare named Chatty Kronos. Now, Chatty Kronos, not going to lie, I don't know a whole lot about her, but I can see she was a winner. She raced at some stakes levels there in Sweden. First foal for her. What's notable about Chatty Kronos, though, she's a full sister to one of the top trotters in the sport this season, a world champion in Atos Kronos.
Yeah, the second dam, Will of a Woman. You notice that the first and second dam, neither of them made $100,000. Look at this lineage. The second dam produced Atos Kronos, Woman's Will, who made over $600,000, Flying Kronos, who we saw race overseas and over here and made $192,000. The international flair of these horses is really interesting to me.
And I'll throw this out there probably for Jamie or Heather if they do get a chance to speak to some of the buyers, is does some of that European flavor deter maybe some of the local buyers? Is it just because of familiarity? They've seen those horses like Atos Kronos, who comes over here and races real well, but they don't have that familiarity of watching that horse really mature from the start of his career to where he got. That's maybe something that's in the back of their mind. That being said, I don't think it's really keeping anybody away here as we see the price continue to climb here on hip number 49. $140,000 for this Walner colt. Feels like every other horse is a Walner.
Hang on, I got a bid real fast.
Wow, what was the number? I think was, and I should know off the top of my head, but we were in the 30 to 40 range tonight for Walners. And that's out of 120 horses selling. So you're talking about, more than a quarter of the horses tonight from one stallion, which is a lot to think about. I know what you're looking for here right now. Good luck if you can count that fast.
I'm not going to be able to count that fast. I'm just kind of looking to see, about how many he's got. He's probably got, looking at the page here, probably about 40 or 50 selling over the next several days, and tonight probably about a third. So I mean, it's really interesting.
It's a very high number. So there you have it. That one goes through six figures, and now more European flavor. Al Raja 1 is the sire of hip number 50, and this is going to be the first foal for the former Mohawk Million winner, Dan Patch O'Brien Award winner, Venerable. They go to Al Raja 1 for her first foal. I think kind of intriguing here.
Yeah, Al Raja 1 currently standing in Italy, if I have that fact correct. In fact, I was trying to do some research on where Al Raja 1 exactly was. The only thing I could find was that he was in Italy. The second dam, Jolene, made $231,000, produced Crucial, who was an 8-time winner at 2 and 3, earning $528,000, including multiple stakes races, and is the dam of world champion Maryland.
The consigner here, this one bred by Cameo Hills Farm, and I talked about just the quality that they bring. Not always really about quantity with them, it's really more about quality, and that was evident last year in terms of their average sale price, which was in the 6 figures for the 2024 Lexington sale, and they're going to get a good price here on this colt. So Al Raja 1, that first crop, is going to maybe hit a home run here. $350,000 we're already up to, and continuing to skyrocket. I think Al Raja 1 actually showed up on the comeback trail racing this year over in Italy, somewhere there in Europe. I saw a headline at one point, so racing career might still be going, but the next career could be pretty lucrative by the looks of things here. But you're just talking about such a class family in terms of Venerable, what she did on the track. It's her first foal, so that's already heightened intrigue. And then Jolene, as you mentioned, that second dam. So $500,000 here. Where's this one going to top out at, Mike? We're going to get a pretty good price here.
Yeah, the current sales topper is at $800,000, and we are well on our way. It is jumping by $25,000 and $30,000, currently sitting at $575,000. Clearly, there are some really nice, attracted trainers and owners taking a look at this horse. This is a New Jersey eligible horse. New Jersey has a lot of money when it comes to the Sire Stakes program. You see a lot of Muscle Hills out that way. You see a lot of Walners out that way. You've got your Tactical Landings and whatnot. So there's a lot of money to be had in the state of New Jersey, while also prepping for some of the big races, including the Hambletonian, as the hammer drops at $575,000.
All right, so congratulations there to the Breeders' Cameo Hills Farm, as they'll be super happy about that one. The first foal out of Venerable by Al Raja 1, $575,000. It's a good point you bring about New Jersey. The money is there for sure, but just being a single state eligible these days sometimes is maybe not always going to get you that extra little bit of money when the hammer drops. In this case, though, I don't think they really left any dollars not spent in terms of hip number 50. So we're moving on to hip number 51. The night does continue here. You don't have to look very far ahead to find horses that you're going to be intrigued by and to be curious what they're going to bring. I got a couple of questions for you. We'll kind of get away from the horses just for a second, but maybe about the Lexington experience. Do you remember the first time you came to Lexington, whether it was for sale, for the Grand Circuit? Do you have a memory?
Yeah, it was back in 2017. I actually broke my foot and had to spend the entire time in the announcer's booth with Gabe Pruitt at Lexington. I sat in the top level here at the Fasig-Tipton Center. I was told not to raise my hand. I sat up there with my computer and tweeted out results for the United States Trotting Association. So it's always fun coming to Lexington, though. I get to experience some new things. This is the first time I've been back in several years. I got to go see some of the consignments earlier this afternoon. That was a lot of fun, getting to see the process, right? I've learned a lot more about the breeding process over the last, several months or so. And, you don't realize what goes into these things, right? All of the work that gets put in, all the flyers that get made, all of the things that get done. And then, of course, you got to show the horses, right? People come and look all day, every day. For the last 3 days, people have been here looking at these horses, inspecting them. I saw my vet from Ohio, Dr. Mike Latessa. He said he's x-rayed several already since he's been here. So, it's really been kind of it's been fun to come back to Lexington. I haven't been here in several years, and it's great to be back.
It's a wonderful place. Really nothing beats it. And I mentioned that off the top if you've never been a part of it. Minus the bugs that are flying around right now.
Listen, I swallowed one earlier, so it's a little bit of protein.
I didn't swallow one. One just wanted to give me a little peck on the cheek. But nonetheless, coming here to Lexington, it's a blast. The Grand Circuit, the Red Mile. I remember coming here as a youngster quite a bit, each and every year for the Grand Circuit, coming to the sale and just parking myself in a seat inside that sales pavilion and just writing the results for each horse and trying to take a stab at guessing what they would go for. I'd have to think a younger me right now would say, wow, these prices are incredible. I remember getting pumped up when you saw one go for $200,000. So to see these prices like the ones that have been coming tonight, over $500,000, 800,000, it's truly cool. I can actually remember just a little bit. I can remember, though, when the old Tattersall sales pavilion was still there in the first turn at the Red Mile. I want to say the last standardbred sale they had there was a sale put on by Walnut Hall, where they just sold their group that year. I think that's what it was, but I'm fairly certain that was the last standardbred sale, at least on the yearling side, that went on as things had started to shift over here. I mean, there was days when you had 2 sales, and then eventually there was an amalgamation, and now this really is a premier sale for standardbreds here in North America, and it draws interest and buyers from around the world.
Now, you guys actually have a sale coming up in London in a couple of weeks, and you've got some really nice horses that come out of that London select sale, some of those Ontario breds. Of course, Lexington and Harrisburg sell a lot of the really top tier horses, but we've seen some talent come out of that London sale.
100%. The proof is already there in a few years for that sale. These bugs are not leaving us alone, but that's a good group this year as well. 2 full days for that one. My regular host on Primetime Racing, Greg Blanchard, would be very upset if I did not give a plug for the London Classic. I know he is working hard in the whole group there to put that one together, but it'll be a lot of fun. A couple days, a Tuesday and a Wednesday coming up there in mid-October, and a sale that continues, I think, to take steps forward each and every year. There's talent everywhere, and that's the one thing. There's going to be a lot of people walking away from tonight who are going to say, these are outrageous prices. I can't play at this level. Yet, I think a great example, and it was talked about a little bit earlier by Steve Stewart, is a horse like Endurance. Who, for trainer Chris Beaver, $14,000 yearling last year, something like that, and is racing at the highest level, winning a Kentucky Sire Stakes championship, has now competed in the Mohawk Million, was a good runner-up in there. So, success can come in all forms in this sport.
Listen, I have it from a good source that Greg Blanchard told someone that he was going to help Curtis set up and break down the next set. So Curtis is going to have some help from Greg Blanchard, from what I understand. So we'll have to wait and see if Greg will actually do some help. I'm voluntolding him. He just doesn't know it.
Well, you might not know this, but people have come to the sale and seen our setup before. I'm the best at setting up the lights. I don't know if anybody's ever done it as fast and efficiently as I have. Unfortunately, this year it looks like we got some new lights, and I'm not as familiar with this brand. So
you know what the brand is? It's called Lights.
No. These are high tech, high power. It takes a lot to light this all up, All right, hip number 53. Enough of the silly talk, because we still got a little more than halfway to go here in night number 1. Alexis Faith is the dam of hip number 53 that's in the ring. She weighed over $500,000 and is a half-sister to Testa Faith. So this is an Ohio and Kentucky eligible, down by the seaside. Ohio, obviously near and dear to your heart, and the Sire Stakes program just continues to improve each and every year. There's so much money there now. Just saw the championships the other night. But down by the seaside, I don't think it mattered where you put him, whether you dropped him in Pennsylvania, Ontario, Kentucky. Ohio's got a real star here.
Yeah, I would agree with that. Down by the seaside, won multiple stakes races throughout his career. And he's done a lot to put Ohio on the map over the last several years from a breeding aspect. Interesting to note here, the average price on Alexis Faith yearlings are $325,000. Update on Brandon Boulevard, who sold here for $425,000 last year. It's 5 wins and 7 starts, including a bluegrass win at the Red Mile here recently. So Brandon Boulevard putting together some interesting things here as well, and clearly the proof is in the pudding as we approach $200,000.
$190,000 is where that one's going to end up, hip number 53. We'll move on to hip number 54. This was one that I had circled because of Sylvia Hanover, the former Canadian Horse of the Year. She's having another fantastic campaign and doing battle with Twin B Joe Fresh. Looks like Twin B Joe Fresh is kind of taking another step ahead once again in that rivalry, but it's not to say Sylvia Hanover won't strike back before the season is done. Sylvia Hanover's connection here to this yearling that is in the ring is Sylvia Hanover is a half-sister to this colt's dam, Creative Power. This is the first colt for Creative Power, that first full gifted one, a black type winner, made over $227,000 at the time of the catalog. So we're talking about a pretty good family here when your second dam is a Hall of Fame broodmare in Shiaway.
Yeah, one of the things as I was looking at it over the over this sales catalog, you see Shy Away and you're like, hey, wait a minute, I've heard this name before somewhere, right? Of course, the dam here is 17 years old, but there was another Shy Away back in the 80s. So as you're looking through the sales catalog, you got to remember that sometimes horses can share names depending on how far apart they were, what kind of earnings they had, things of that sort. You talked about the likes of Sylvia Headover. This is the second yearling to sell out of the dam. Last year, Gifted One sold for $180,000. 2 years ago, sold for $180,000. Has made $227,000 in her career. At 2 as a winner of a Kentucky Sire Stakes leg in Lexington. Did finish second in the Kentucky Sire Stakes final. That is a restricted event. You see that R1 there. So we have the graded stakes program now. We've got those grade 1, 2, and 3, but we also have those restricted races, right? The restricted 1s, 2s, and 3s, so that you can kind of play along in those state-bred programs, which, by the way, these state-bred programs, I mean, don't get me wrong, there's a lot of money there, but, from a Grand Circuit aspect, sometimes it's not worth it to hit the Grand Circuit right away.
Yeah, I'm not a fan of that necessarily, but I don't blame owners and traders who go after that money. So I do get it. The graded stakes that you mentioned there, I'm part of that committee, and I can tell you that for all the people who were a little critical this season, I will tell you, don't worry. It's going to get reviewed each and every year.
Hang on, you're on that committee?
Yeah.
Us folks at Northfield Park want to have a conversation with you.
Okay, that's exactly it. You're like the 100th person who said that to me. So, but to my point, I had to start somewhere.
I agree.
It wasn't going to be perfect from the start, but it had to start somewhere, and I think at least when I say I think we as a committee found the right balance, and now you can start as the years go along to really adjust and make those moves. And very similar to how the thoroughbreds do their graded stakes, there's going to be ratings, there's going to be points put on these races based on the quality of the field you attracted and who raced and what. It's not always just going to be about purse, but unfortunately when you're starting how many years behind another breed that's already got that established, which, by the way, people don't think it's perfect over there either. I just want to point that out. It has to start somewhere.
No, listen, I give you guys a ton of respect because I know you've taken a lot of flack. And, listen, I got to tell you, I work at Northfield Park. We've got 2 grade 2s and a grade 3. And it's tough, right? You look at all these races, and harness racing has a lot of stakes races on the calendar. In fact, as I was going through the sales catalog tonight, I'm sitting there highlighting grade 1s, 2s, and 3s. There are a lot of stakes races. And it's really tough. I know some people, they felt, quote-unquote disrespected or whatever. Come on. Listen, if your event is a grade 2 this year, you could take another look at it next year, and maybe it'll be a grade 1 event. Look at the fields that we produced this year. Prince Hal Hanover won the Milstein. So as you go, these things are going to kind of grow along. And like you said, we're starting several years behind the 8 ball. So you know what? It was a great start, and I personally love the graded stake system. I think it, while not perfect, I think it's great just to have just in general, right? We need to have those stakes races that are top-tiered, middle-tiered, and then maybe those lower-tiered stakes events.
Well, I'll tell you who the biggest proponent of it are, and that's the people who are the most impactful in a week like this. That's the breeders.
Absolutely.
They were the ones who really did want it, and I will take your argument there and file it away when we have our next meeting.
It's a compliment, though, in all seriousness, because you guys, it's a thankless job, right?
Yeah, but at the same time, too, I think we're in a sport where you open up a sales catalog and every horse has black type, and that's just not really, it's defeating the purpose of what black type is supposed to be on a sales catalog page. So enough of that as well. Geez, we're kind of getting off on some tangents here. I expected that would happen. I thought
it's you and I, so maybe.
Well, maybe. I didn't know if somebody else might come along and want to share some thoughts. The bar's been pretty steady, so there will probably be a few guests as the night gets a little bit later who might have a few things to say. Yep, just one more. That's what they'll say. All right, hip number 56 is in the ring. New Jersey, Kentucky eligible. Give Heaven Hill. This is a Walner filly. Yep, you guessed it, a Walner filly out of the muscle mass mare Danica, and she was a winner at 2. First full for her. Even though the accomplishments aren't necessarily huge for that first dam, I like seeing a winner at 2. I like knowing that horse was able to be ready to go right off the hop gets that mark at least and showed that can get to the races, because kind of takes away any of the mystery, or at least gives you a little bit of hope that, hey, the mom got there, of course the sire did, and there's lots in this family when you're talking about Hip 56.
Yeah, absolutely. And, the second and third dam are real producers, right? The second dam produced Kendro, made over $200,000. The third dam with Chimpanzee, Iteration, and Thinker Monkey, who a lot of people really haven't heard of, placed well in the Bluegrass Stakes. That was a Grade 3 event. Won a leg of the New York Sire Stakes out at Yonkers Raceway, was third in the Empire Breeders' Classic. And I think some of those stakes races that kind of get not forgotten about, but the Zweig, the Empire Breeders' Classic, some of those big-time New York Stakes races actually produce some really nice horses.
They really do. Yeah, I agree with that. Let's take a look now. We're still at 56. I was just kind of looking ahead to hip number 57, and again, thing I always highlight on a page is when you have a mare that has her first colt. That's what we're going to have, a Muscle Hill colt that's going to come in hip number 57. And for me, Muscle Hill, again, like we said, not going anywhere, still going to produce results. And this will be interesting to see what hip 57 brings here, because Darlene Hanover, that first dam, that Chapter 7 mare, she made close to $600,000. She had a mark of 51-4, a proven stakes winner who raced at a pretty high level, and not just, again, on those sire stakes scenes like in Kentucky. She, for the most part, didn't mind traveling around. She went to Vernon. She got to the Red Mile. She made trips over to the other places across the board, as I'm looking here and just speaking gibberish, but you know what I mean. She was well traveled is what I'm saying, and she was a very good mare. Also had a good market too, 53-4. So her first colt is coming to the ring here now, and again, a Muscle Hill that I think is going to bring a good coin.
Yeah, this is the second yearling out of the dam. The first out of the dam was Delightful Yankee and sold for $325,000 last year, is yet to make a start. So we're not really sure what Darlene Hanover can produce thus far. But the second dam did produce Delilah Hanover and Delaney Hanover, both stakes winners. The third dam, check that out, Donato Hanover. It's hard to forget Donato Hanover. He was a world champion, former Dan Patch Horse of the Year, Trotter of the Year 2 years in a row. You got Here Comes Herbie as well in that mix, who made $365,000, and we're up over 200 already with hip number 57.
All right, so we continue on here on night one of the Lexington Selected Yearling Sale. Thanks so much for tuning in. Again, drop us a line in the comments on Facebook or YouTube, wherever you are watching. We'll try and get to those a little bit later on. Hey, we're probably going to need the content. We can talk about the horses, but it's a long night. We'll be back tomorrow as well, and as this night moves into the second half, we know Jamie and Heather are roaming around, and they're hoping to catch up with some of the buyers. Now, the difficulty can be is that some of the buyers, they're hoping to maybe buy another one. So they might not necessarily have that window, but I understand Heather was telling me that she spoke to Andrew Harris. He said he would be happy to chat in a little bit. I see Cam, our main man, operating the cam, coming back here with Jamie, so they may have been able to catch up with some individuals. So we'll have more chats to bring your way as this Muscle Hill colt in the ring, $300,000. And there you go. The hammer drops. Heard the auctioneer call it in the back. There you go. Muscle Hill colt brings $300,000. Next up is hip number 58, New Jersey, Kentucky eligible colt, Nights in Miami. Great name. I like that one. A bay colt by Walner out of Date Night by Bar Hopping. Another first foal, as we've seen quite a few of those. So some young mares represented. Date Night, she was a Grand Circuit winner. In fact, she loved it here at the Red Mile. She won the Bluegrass and the International Stallion Stakes, so back-to-back weeks on the Grand Circuit at age 2. Finished with over $400,000 in earnings and a mark of 50-4 taken at 2. High speed at a young age, and a Walner colt, again, could be a pretty good recipe.
Yeah, 50-2 for a trotter at 2 is pretty incredible. That's all I'm saying. Yep. First yearling out of the dam, Date Night. The third dam, Day for Night, was a Dan Patch 3-year-old trotting filly of the year in 2000. Produced Aspen, California, who made over $100,000. Chocolate Day, who raced internationally. It's good to see some of these international horses kind of make their stamp, right, in this sale. Not just with their sires and dams, but with horses that are their offsprings. It's nice to see some of those that are being purchased, say, in Lexington or Harrisburg, and being shipped overseas to race.
Well, this one wasn't necessarily picking up the steam that I thought it might. And we saw that a little bit earlier. We saw Chapter 7 that didn't bring a whole lot, and I thought the page looked pretty good. But, the real question mark when I went and talked to a few people after, was just the size. Just did not have a lot of size, and that seemed to be the knock, and it kept buyers away. Here we've got this one sitting at $55,000, which again probably tells me there's maybe a knock on this one somewhere, some question marks that are holding people back. For date night, by the way, when you think 150 and 4 at 2, and you wonder how the heck is that not a world record, well, that's because Mission Brief here at the Red Mile went 150 and 3 back in 2014. But for the record, date night, and I wanted to look this up, the second fastest 2-year-old trotter of all time at 50 and 4. The next closest is 51 and 1, Southwind Tyrion, and then 51 and 2, you get a long jam with the likes of Carl, Mr. Big Spender, and Selfie Queen. So Mission Brief, that 50 and 3 mark at 2, Mike, that's one of those world records, going to stand for a while, already going on a decade.
Yeah, absolutely. It's going to probably stand the test of time. One of our commenters, and it's funny you mentioned some of the things being talked about, with the Red Mile getting the Breeders' Crown. There's a new training track actually opening up. We're hearing in Versailles, Kentucky.
Yeah.
Versailles.
They call it,
I'm not from Kentucky.
They call it Versailles here, just like that place, not too far from here. I don't want to say it right or wrong because it's, what is it, Louisville? I say Louisville, but it's Louisville, yeah. But yeah, Versailles, the training center, High Bramble. I've had a chance to go by there a couple of times, and looks like a fantastic spot. And kudos to the group that led that to get that place built and up and running. And they did it in very quick time. In fact, just as it got opened up, they actually had some fair races there back in July. And it was my understanding it was right down to the wire to make sure that they had the track ready, and they did. So a job well done to that group. And that's just, again, the investment that's being made here in the state of Kentucky by those that see a very bright future for harness racing. It was talked about a little bit earlier on in our chat with Kentuckiana Farms about the fact that there's 3 racetracks going now. The meets are essentially, if you want to race in Kentucky, we're getting on almost a full year, really, when you think about when Oak Grove opens, and then the meet that's going to come up when the Red Mile shuts down, going to carry into November. I mean, yeah, you're taking the winter months off, but that being said, the kind of focus on those young horses that's happening here, it really is a wonderful place to set up shop.
Yeah, I would agree. And I mean, we're seeing a lot of these dual eligible horses sell for big ticket money, and it's because there's money to be had, right? You can race in New Jersey, you can race in Ohio, you can come back to Kentucky and race in some of these Sire Stakes championships that, they go for $300,000 at Ohio. What your final, super final, what do they go for up there?
Back home in Ontario?
In Ontario.
Yeah, $275.
$275. Yeah, so you're getting about 300,
like
400,000 between the double dip. I mean, that's big money. I mean, if you win both of those, it's $150,000 a pop. I mean, that's not doing too bad. And so, these dual eligible horses are clearly selling for more money for a reason. As we're talking about dual eligible horses, this one is a New Jersey eligible, number 59, Temple of Trot. Check Me Out, the average is $214,285. And we talked a little bit about this lineage earlier this evening, and clearly it is coming to fruition here with $475,000 currently on the table.
Yeah, Check Me Out, a world champion. Her accomplishments we talked about earlier, but as a broodmare, she's had 6 winners. King of the North, the most notable. Still a remarkable Breeders' Crown winner there back in 2022 at Woodbine Mohawk Park for Ray Schnitger, who had so much success with this family. Trained the Dam, trained King of the North. And again, it's one of those mares where I've put a lot of focus on the young mares in this sale tonight that are represented, but here's one in Check Me Out who, she's been around the block and she's still producing, and the price is up now to $485,000. The hammer drops there. Pretty good. Another Walner, and the Walner average is going to be something to really track as this night goes along. It may possibly be available on the Lexington website already, although those results obviously take a little bit of time to catch up as the night goes along. So as we did a little bit earlier, we got through 30 horses, and then we took a little bit of a timeout to bring you some of our conversations that Heather and Jamie were able to have. I'm looking over to my right. I can see producer Curtis back there. I'd actually love, Mike, if we could get Curtis. Like you watch a podcast, like you watch like Pat McAfee or something, and the whole crew behind the scenes can chime in and talk. Some of the comments I get in my ear, I mean, it's just pure gold. Maybe, in another life, I think Curtis might have been a comedian. And
might have been?
Do you know why I'm saying that? Because I know he's not listening.
Because he's not listening to us, that's why.
Curtis.
He's having just one more.
Where are we going to go now? If we decide to we're going to interview who?
Anthony McDonald.
I thought Anthony McDonald was barred from this show, but apparently not. So after we get the results here on hip number 60, we are going to have a conversation with Anthony McDonald of the stable.ca. And what do you got for us, Mike?
We've got the sire statistics up through, say, hip about 50.
Okay.
Walner at 1.8 million, Chapter 7 at 1.2 million, Tactical Landing at 1 million. The 3 millionaires, all trotters.
Yep.
Not one pacer above $1 million so far.
And a trot-heavy night, so
Yes.
to be expected. We talked a bit about this family already in Darlene Hanover. Well, here is First Dam and Delilah Hanover, first full in the ring. And again, it's a Walner filly, hip number 60. It just doesn't seem to stop. The Walners just continue to roll on through. And Delilah Hanover, I mean, she was a Grand Circuit winner at 2, carried that over with success at 3, made over $300,000. And her first full in the ring is going to bring $325. We'll see if the hammer goes.
Real quick, I want to touch on something.
Okay, go ahead.
So hip number 60, you've got the book right there.
Yep.
Look at the lineage of hip number 57. I have it right here. Hip number 57 compared to hip number 60. Notice the only difference? The first dam.
Yep.
The second and third dam being the same. So some siblings that we're getting to see on this night as well. So the last one sold for a big ticket. This one also sells for a big ticket. Upwards of $350,000. So
right.
Another big ticket Walner.
That's where it's going to go. So I do want to quickly, before we throw to the interview with Anthony McDonald, just skim ahead over the next few that are going to sell, because I had a couple of angry viewers wondering why we weren't talking over some notable horses that were selling. I failed to inform them that don't worry, we're here all night. We would have a chance to talk about them. So if we're not back when hip number 66 comes in, this is one that I had certainly listed as maybe the top Bulldog Hanover in the sale. Hip 66 is the first full out of Firestart Hanover. That standout pacing filly. She made 1.2, a Dan Patch Award winner. First full, it's a Bulldog Hanover. Should bring a pretty good price. All right, Michael, we can take a quick little time out here, rest our voices,
absolutely.
and go to somebody who really knows how to talk. Anthony McDonald with Jamie McDonald.
Anthony McDonald joins us now, just fresh out of the sale ring, number 36. Tell us about this purchase.
Honestly, the horse, it kind of wasn't on my radar. I mean, you look at Walners, they're going to dominate today for the most part. There's so many of them selling, and Ariana G, she's been kind of 0 for 4 in her foals, but even Moneymaker, it's only a matter of time before kind of one hits. And this is such a good-looking colt. He had a really nice video, and I thought at the time when I had him marked quite a bit higher than 40,000, I was surprised that somebody bid 45, somebody bid at 47. So obviously they're near the end of the bidding, and I'd actually told them 48, not thinking that maybe they might take that bid, and they did, and I couldn't be happier. I mean, we're not here just trying to pick up what's left over on day one. This is a world champion's son by a world champion sire. So there's nothing wrong with the horse. He stands great. He looks good. He's very correct. His video was nice, and there's certainly nothing wrong with it. I can't really understand why he only brought 48,000. I mean, sure, the mare might not have thrown a great horse in the first 4, but she's such a good horse. I mean, how do you not give this horse another shot and another shot and another shot? Eventually, Ariana G will hit, and I'd be very happy if it was with Superway.
And, fifth time can be the charm. When you're looking at these horses, conformation, size, attitude, how they're walking in and out of their stalls, what really brings your eye to them?
You make a good point. This time of night, after they've been in and out, especially as you can imagine how many times Ariana G's foal's been out of the stall, still having his ears up, willing to walk out of the stall, walk back in the stall, being happy, just seems like he's engaged. It may sound stupid to people, but these are all big deals. These are all point towards his overall attitude as a horse. And he's got his ears up and he's looking around. It's late at night. There's lots going on. The horse is put together well. There's nothing physically wrong with the horse. He's put together well. He looks good. And quite frankly, at $48,000, it made it very difficult for me not to purchase the horse.
And sometimes those cheaper horses sneak through, and there's lulls in the sale. There could be people are looking at the one before, the one after, a couple after, and you get a great horse for a great price.
Well, I mean, listen, there's lots of people that look at it and say, well, it's Ariana G is full. I can't afford it. They're going to not pull it out of the stall. And there's people that also say, well, I could afford it, but I'm not really that interested in a horse that's 0 for 4 as the mare is concerned. So you have that mix of people that maybe don't feel they can afford it or don't want to bid on it. This horse here, when you get a horse by Wallner, you think all the people out there that know what Wallner's stud fee is. By Wallner, he's right there. He's perfectly correct. He's not too small. He's not too big. He's put together well. Everything says, geez, this is not a bad-looking horse. Out of a world champion mare, and you get it for less than the stud fee, I'd say we did pretty good.
Well, congratulations on your purchase here with hip number 36.
50, now 100, now 50, now 100, 50, now 100, here we go, a bit of 100 bid, now 100, here we go, a bit of 100, here we go, a bit of 50, here we go, 100, 50, now 100, now 100,000, now 100, here we go, a bit of 75, 50, now 75, 75, 75, 75, here we go, a 75 and 100, here we got 100 here, now 25, 125, 125, and now 50, and now 50, now 75, 75, 75, 200, 2, and now 2, down 2 to 2, here we go, a bit of 200, here we go, a bit of 200, down 2, 200, down 2, now 25, down 25, 200, now 25, and a bit of 5, here we go, a bit of 5 and 25, now 50, now 2 and a half, 250, 250, 100, here we go, now 75, 75, 75, that's 75, and a bit of 5, here we go, a bit of 75, and a 75, 75, 2 and a half, 275, 75, 300, now 300, now 3, 3, and 3 to 3, 3, 3, here we go, a bit of a bit of 3, here we go, a bit of 75, 3, all done, it, 275, 300, here she goes, now 75, now 3, here he goes, that's 75, 3, 275, you would give 85, 75, 85, 275, 285, anybody else, 285,000.
Guys, I'm here with Hall of Famer Dave McDuffy, and I just want to say earlier I was talking to Dave, and he said, what are you doing tonight? And I said, I will be interviewing you after you buy a couple high-priced yearlings. So, I appreciate you wanting me to interview you so much that you spent a lot of money so far with 2, and we want to talk about hip number 50 first. You got for $575,000 at Valoris. This is a colt, Al Raja 1, this is his first year with the crop going through, and the mare is a Venerable who you own. So tell me about why you love this colt so much.
Well, he is a beautiful colt, and she's a great mare. I mean, the family that's as good a family as there is in the business right now. Jolene, et cetera, et cetera. I've watched this colt from the day he was born. And I've thought that I maybe could steal him. I know better. But anyway, thrilled to get him.
This was the one that you came for then?
He's one of the ones I came for, okay. Yes.
So the other one you must have come for is hip number 60, and that's Day One Dandy. Now this is a filly, a Wallner filly, $350,000. And actually, this Delilah Hanover, you had her, the mare.
I did. And again, this is a beautiful filly. I really wanted her, and I'm happy to get her for what we paid for her.
You really were happy. I mean, huge smile over there by the sales ring. I almost could not get him because all the women were around him hugging him and the guys were high-fiving him. It was a great scene. Let's talk about both of these horses, Cameo Hills, consigned and raised at Cameo Hills. Mm-hmm. They do such a great job.
Yeah, they do. And as you said, I own both mares with partners, and I sold them to Steve, and I'm thrilled to get their first foals.
Are you buying any more tonight or the rest of the week?
I don't know yet.
All right. Well, you're going to bid, though.
I might.
Okay. All right. All right.
Yeah. I'm not done.
Okay, that's what we want to hear. All right. Well, congratulations on these two, and happy bidding for the rest of the sale.
Thank you very much. And, you cost me a lot of money because I did want to get on TV here or whatever we're doing. And I just said, no, I'm going to buy these things to get on the show with you.
That's all right. I love to hear it. Thank you, Dave. Guys, back to you.
160,000. Thank you. We said no and a half in the back. 150,000.
Hip number 66, consigned by Hunterton Sales Agency agent Van Cure, Ontario and Kentucky eligible big colt by Bulldog Hanover out of Firestart Hanover by Some Beach Somewhere. Only the second crop for the world champion Bulldog Hanover. The first dam, a millionaire champion, grade 1 winner, first foal of the mare.
Would you look right here? What you gonna do, honey? Hip number 66. Honey, we down 300. 3 down 3 to 3. We get out of the band, 3 and away to the band. 25, 50. Honey, we down 50. 50. Now 75. Now 100. Now 75. 100. It's 75. 100. Now 25. Now 50. Now 100. Half. 100. Half. 100. Half. 125. 150. Honey, we down 50 to be down 50. 150. 150. 150. Now 200. Now 75. 2. 200. Here we down 200. 200. Now 2 to bid. Now 2 to bid. Now 2. Here we get out of the band. 2. We get out of the band. 2. 2. Down 25. At 25, now 50, now 75, now 75, at 75, 75, here we get down to 75, 2.5, 75, 300, now 3, now 25, now 50, now 350, at 50, now 50, now 50, under here we get down to 50, we get out of the band, get down to 50, we get 3.5, 3.5, at 3.5, 3.5, here we get down to 50, we get 50, we get 50, we get 50, at 350, we get down to 300, we get out of the band, get down to 50, we get down 75, 75, at 350, 375, you out in both spots, 350, 375, down 75, down 75, hold on, at 350, we get out of the band, get down to 75, you done back there, now 350, 375,000. 375,000 last call. 375, 400. At 400 now, you almost missed out. 375, 400,000. 400,000. Right here, Josh. We take 85, 375, 85, 85, 85 now. Half in the back. 375.
Hip number 67, consigned by Hunterdon Sales Agency agent Laureen Kronos, Kentucky, and Kentucky Stallion bonus eligible Bay Filly by Chimpanzee and a Firefly by Cash, and by Chimpanzee, 28 juvenile winners this year, 20 of them being fillies. Here's a half sister to a $500,000 winner.
100, I need 100, we get it back again, 25, thank you, 50. Yeah, I need to get it back again, 50, we get 25, 25, going to be 50, we get it back 35, thank you, 50, 35, 50, 35, 50, 50,000, we get it back again, 50, we get 50, we get 60, we get 75, 75, 75, 75, 75, 75, 75.
Tyler Jones joins us now from Cameo Hill Farms, and fresh out of the ring, you just sold almost back-to-back 4 right in a row between 50 and 60. You had 4 there, and all together over 1.4 million. Those 4. How are you feeling?
Heart beating fast, that's for sure. We had some expectations, but first foals and nice mares and well-bred fillies and colts. Very pleased there. Yeah, it's been nice.
What are the trends you're seeing, for breeding, for what you guys are having on your farm?
We're just trying to pick up nice mares, well-bred, or go to the track and breed them to the top stallions, and we're down here.
It seems simple, but it's not. There's a lot to it. Just the excitement from year to year. Comparison, obviously, we're, just halfway through, I guess, night 1. But how is it going compared to last year?
Well, we had a tremendous sale last year as well. Yeah. But so far, we're super pleased, and hopefully get the rest of them sold.
And how are you finding breeding back to the same mares and stallions season to season? Or are you finding different trends, or people wanting different things?
Yeah, I mean, there's certainly the ones you're bringing back to year after year. Chapter 7, Walner, but we just sold hit number 50. He's by Raja 1, so we took a little bit of a chance there, but he was an absolutely beautiful colt. So.
Well, congratulations. It's so exciting. I talked to you a little bit before, and I could feel some nerves, but I feel like that's gone. And for the rest of the night, expectations, how many more do you have?
We have 3 more. We have a Bulldog Hanover filly. We have a chapter colt, so it should be good.
Well, congratulations so far. A phenomenal, halfway through day 1, and keep it up. We can't wait to maybe check in a little bit later.
Appreciate it. Yeah, thanks, Yep.
Old Tomorrow, Pennsylvania, and Kentucky eligible bay colt by Captain Treacherous. Fly Like an Angel by Roll with Joe. Captain Treacherous, desire 15 millionaires. First full of air. Second amble, 100% producer.
All right. Boys trying to give me 100. 100,000. 25. Thank you. 35. Everybody 35. 25 now. 35. Everybody give 100. Everybody 150. 100. 150. Everybody 50. Now 2. 100 half. Now 75. Now 2. 200,000 now 2. 200 now 2. 200 now 50. 200 now 50. Now 2 half. Everybody 200. How about 25? 25. 25. 200. 225. Everybody 25. 225. 225. 200 now 25. 200. 225. 225. Now 50. 250. 250, 250, now 75, now 300, now 300, now 3, now 3, 3, now 3, 3, 3, 3, now quarter, 3, now 25, 300, now 325, 300, now 25, you make it all done, down we go, 325,000, 300, you 325, but it's you done back there, 25, thank you, but you said no, 325,000 then, in the back, 300,000.
Hip number 72, consigned by Hunterton Sales Agency Agent Sweetie, New York and Kentucky. Eligible to be filled by Chapter 7. A Gamma Bourbon by Ready Cash. By Chapter 7, second full of mare, half-sister to Mountcastle, who's in the catalog. Runner-up in the Kentucky Sire Stakes Championship Final. Runner-up in the New Jersey 85, 85, 85, 85. 85, 75, 85, 75, $85,000 is all out. 75, 85, 85, 95, and now 100, and now $100,000, now 100, you get a 100 bid now 100, 100, now 25, 110, 100, now 10, 10, 10, whatever you think. 100, you get a 10, 100, boy, 10, 20, 15, 20. She is a racing gal. 115, 120, 120, 120, now 50, 150, you get a 50, 50, 60, 60, 70, 160, 170, 80, 75, 80, now 80, 180, you get 180, 180, not 90, 190, 180, 90, 95, 200, 200, 10, now 10, 200, now 25, 25, 25, 25, 25, you get 210, 220, now 20, now 30, now 40, 230, 240, you get 40, you get now 50, 250.
Wow, we have had our first $1 million horse of 2025 here at the Lexington Selected Yearling Sale. Hip number 70, just a few horses ago. Dejanay, a New Jersey and Kentucky eligible filly by Walner out of French Cafe by Father Patrick. Here's the half-sister to French Champagne, that standout filly. And we talked about it. It was going to be a trolley filly that would likely be the session and sale topper here in 2025. We're not done yet, but it continues. A $1 million filly here in Dejanay.
You know, we used to look at these sales and go, $1 million. Maybe it's possible, maybe it's not. It's more than possible in some of these. And look at you calling it on a trotting filly with Dejanay. And great pronunciation, by the way. I love the French here.
That's the French coming out of me. So there you go.
Please, listen. The French Canadian, I love it.
Wow, I'm not a French Canadian, but you do take French immersion. Was the thing I did for 12 years, and I don't really remember much of it. But Dejanay, French Champagne, that's got to be all that little French connection. But I guess we shouldn't be shocked. That first dam is a half-sister to French Wine. A millionaire right there. French Laundry, that was a standout. I mean, the family's deep. It's a Walner filly, and there's the one. Now, I talked to a few people today where we were trying to peg who would be that top horse. Hip 94 is the one that a lot of people kept coming back to. I think it's Hip 94. It's the first one out of Wendell's Cry. That is Hip number 94. Turtle Dove is her name. But Hip number 70 wasn't really one that we talked a whole lot about. Clearly, all the interest was there, and we await to see who purchases what.
Yeah, French Cafe produced a family affair sold for $250,000 in 2023. You don't see that horse listed because there's no black type to be listed. There's nothing there, right? So the second dam, Creamy Mimi, you've got French Wine, French Laundry. King City made $180,000 internationally. So I'll be interested to see who picked this horse up, and we'll have to kind of see what stable they go to next.
And when it comes back to it, the fillies again is a residual value in the fact that they can go be brood mares, whether that racing career is prolific or not. They still have that option, and when you've got pedigree like that, and a page to stand up the way that does of number 70 Dejanay, we can be several years down the road where she can have a foal that's going to be selling here, and again, will probably bring a pretty good penny. So there you go, $1 million horse so far, and a closer look as the crew behind the scenes was on it. And good for Kentucky and Farms as they gave us some time earlier tonight to talk about things, and there they have a $1 million filly in Hip number 70. And I mean, striking as you'd expect with all the Walners, they always look real good. And I mean, she checks a lot of boxes, and now the question becomes, can she be that next $1 million horses so far? They haven't really necessarily always hit when it comes to on the racetrack, and there's so much pressure there. But it's funny, we kind of, for the most part, kind of ignore the $600,000 horses now.
Yeah.
$700,000 horses, because we're so focused on those $1 million horses. End of the day, we were talking about it earlier. You can buy one for $14,000, it could be a champion. It's just a starting spot, and all you're doing is likely getting a leg up based on pedigree.
Yeah, I mean, take a look at hip number 74. You see the averages, right? The law of averages kind of plays itself out. But the two top horses that this dam has produced, one sold for $70,000, one sold for $400,000. So, it's such a game, right?
Yep.
You never really know if the $1 million horse is going to be the $1 million animal, right? And when you purchase $1 million horse like that, you're looking at more than just racing. I think you're looking at breeding as well, correct?
Yep, exactly. That is it. Hip number 66, I do want to go back to for a second. $375,000 was the price tag on that Bulldog Hanover colt. Before we stepped aside, we talked about that Bulldog Hanover was well represented by Hip 66, Ontario, Kentucky eligible. Van Kier, that is the first foal out of Firestart Hanover. And Firestart Hanover, she was a standout on the track. Had a mark of 50-3 at 2, lowered that to 49, pace sub 149. She made over $1 million. Raced a lot of the big dances, really made the trip around. And even at age 4, they raced her for a little bit there. She took on the best pacing mare and was second in the Grade 1 Roses Are Red. So her resume is there. I love going back deep in her family. Glowing Report was a favorite of mine when I was a youngster. She was a world champion and a multiple award winner. She's under that third dam. So again, there's a lot to like about this Bulldog Hanover. These were the kind of horses that people were excited to see this year, knowing the different mares that Bulldog Hanover got compared to that first group.
Yeah, you're starting to see a lot of the Bulldog Hanovers getting those first yearling out of the dams, and I'm excited to kind of see what those produce, right? Like this one was the Past Euro Pacing Filly of the Year in 2020 by Some Beach Somewhere at a beat, time of 148-1, had a mark of 149, made $1.2 million in career earnings. Clearly has a lot of that class, but it's not just the sires in these situations; it's also the dams. It's also how strong that lineage is, and sometimes you could have the best sires, but if the dam doesn't produce, then it really hurts the race.
Yep, exactly that. So we'll continue on with tonight's session, right? Hip number 76, and just trying to go back here, because as we were talking there, hip number 75 went through, and that was one that I had marked out just again because of that cross of the Chapter 7 out of a Cantab Hall mare, and it's an $80,000 buy, so maybe that could be almost viewed as a bargain on a night like tonight, as based on the prices that we have seen. Hip 76 is in the ring. This is going to be a Walner colt every time it's a Walner. That's nothing against Walner, but I'm going to be seeing Walner in my dreams tonight. Go back down the page. This is the family of Moneymaker, your third dam here, and the first dam, Grandma's Money. Yep. She's had 2 winners from 2 races, including the Wise One, Sonny's Money. Not necessarily household names, but good racehorses.
Yeah, Sonny's Money sold here in 2024 for $200,000. This is the second yearling that will sell out of Grandma's Money. The Wise One was a homebred with their connections and made $255,000. We're seeing a lot of the homebreds, Mark. Put together some really nice pedigrees as well. And the only thing it costs you is the stud fee, right? The stud fee Walner. So, if you can come up with one of these that maybe you're deciding to keep for yourself, may become a household name.
Yep, exactly that. And I think now would be a good time, speaking of those stud fees. Tomorrow, coming up just prior to the start of Session 2 of the Lexington Select Sale, will be the benefit auction for the 2025 Breeders' Crown Charity Challenge, where there are going to be single breedings to several standout stallions in the sport that are going to be offered. They include Bulldog Hanover, Down by the Seaside, Green Man, Leashy, Sweet Lou, Tactical Landing, and Walner. And it's my understanding as well there's a Captain Corey breeding that's also been put in there, was not originally in the catalog. Try to get confirmation on that, but I was told that the other day. So if that's the case, there'll be 7 of them that are going to be auctioned off. Now, those are just for the 2026 season. They're not shares. There's not multiple breedings available here. There's single breedings for 2026. But when you're looking at what the Walners are bringing here, you'd have to think there's going to be some folks that, especially with the Going for Charity, they will be shy to probably participate and try and get a breeding to Walner.
I hear you and I are going to be teaming up. Maybe we'll get the Walner breeding.
Is that what we're doing? Okay.
Yeah, we're gonna spend. Listen, Curtis told us he's already in. He's gonna put the entire business up, and we're gonna, that's what we're gonna do.
Well, I would have loved to have had a share. If I'd had a share of Walner, wow, we'd ever be laughing. But that'll be a fun thing happening tomorrow afternoon. Going to start right around 1 p.m. We'll have coverage of that coming up as well tomorrow on all these channels leading into day number 2. We'll be back here breaking everything down, and I think tomorrow we'll probably have an opportunity to get we'll probably have an opportunity to get a lot more interviews, even on the desk, and people walking by. As you can see, some people just stumble right into our set, not realizing what's going on here. Tomorrow, I think, because you kind of get past that night number 1 where everyone's locked in, might be a little more chatty and willing to take a little time to talk about their racing seasons and, of course, they're trying to accomplish here at the sale. Hip number 77 right now, Michael. Look at that. We're closing in on $400,000. Grimmy Hanover, the dam here. First living foal for this Cantab Hall mare.